All right. Welcome to Recovery Dharma, everybody. My name's Josh. I'm one of the facilitators here at Soul Center out of Spokane, Washington. I am in Petaluma, California, so a few miles down to the south, um, part of this Sangha, and I've been here for several years now, and it's been a fantastic experience for my recovery. Um, Took a long time to get here, but I definitely found a home here, and it's always good to see everybody's faces, old and new. Feel very much like this is family. Uh, Here at Soul Center, we explore monthly topics that Julia introduces, and she's laid out the entire year of 2026. If you care to look at it, you can find it on the website, Soul Center website. But we're starting with basics here. January was the first noble truth of Buddhism. And now that we're in February, we're exploring the second noble truth. Um, for those of us who are not experienced Buddhist practitioners, this has been a really fun way for myself personally, to educate myself, do a little more exploration into Buddhism. And, as part of my recovery, this has proven to be a really great path for me. Uh, if you're not familiar, the the second noble truth in Buddhism follows the first noble truth that there is suffering, which Julia has reframed as discomfort, and then the second noble truth being that there are conditions that cause discomfort. They don't arise simply from themselves, but rather from various conditions, external and internal, that create these discomforts that we suffer. Uh, and it was suggested to me that I might narrow that focus a little bit and explore this idea of blame when it comes to these conditions. Everything is cause and effect in this universe, right? And the idea of karma, I've learned recently, really, is less about getting, this idea that you get what you deserve so much as it is what we do, what we say has an effect on the world around us, big and small. Um, and a lot of times um, we're both giving and receiving those effects. And when they cause us discomfort, a lot of times it helps, I think, to be able to figure out why you're having this discomfort. Um, and thus the blame, right? Uh, we've all experienced discomfort. If you're here on a path of recovery, you probably experienced a fair, great amount of discomfort. And being able to find a reason for that, I think, even if it's not a happy reason, still gives one a little relief from the uncertainty. Speaking for myself, I hate to think that the bad things that have happened in my life happen for no reason at all. And whether or not the stories I tell myself when I assign blame for these are true, it kind of gives me something to hold on to. That's sort of an anchor that, while it might be unpleasant, is better than just being drifting out at sea. Um, and if you've been in any sort of recovery program like I have been over the years, you hear a lot of people talking about their past and how that led to unwise behavior, unwise actions, unwise thoughts. um, but at the end of the day, I think the blaming becomes a little not pointless, but it's it's directs your energy in a way that could be directed in a more productive way. I heard a parable a few times that the Buddha talked about wanting to know about arrows. You know, if you're a man being shot with arrows, and when the surgeons offered to him, refusing the care of the surgeon until he knew where the arrow came from and what the person who shot the arrow was like and where they came from and what the arrow was made of. And all of this time spent focusing on how the arrow got there and who shot it, deflected from the matter at hand of treating the arrow. And so, in this program, I think for a lot of us, when we're dealing with habit energy, it's not useless to understand how we got here, but sometimes it might make more sense to focus on treating that arrow and, you know, being given this beautiful gift of this practice that I can focus my attention, my efforts, my actions and thoughts on this practice to being able to deal more wisely with my habit energy. I found it works really well, and I definitely have gotten a lot of positive feedback from my friends and family. So, on that, I would like to invite you to join me in a meditation that I've prepared. Sorry about that. I'm going to invite my bowl to sing, and then we'll start. So go ahead and begin by settling into whatever position of comfort suits you. If it's available to you, find some stillness. If you choose to, you can close your eyes or soften your gaze and start to take a few short, deliberate breaths. And as you take those short breaths, let them come in and out, in and out. And as you feel your body receiving the breath and exhaling, let that breath start to get longer and deeper. Take a deeper breath and a longer exhale. Feel your body receiving that air, expanding your chest and your belly. And exhaling, feel your body releasing that which it does not need. As you breathe, allow your breath to cycle into its natural rhythm. Nothing to control, nothing to force. Simply know the breath as it comes and as it goes. As you settle into your breath, bring to mind the intention of this practice to look gently and honestly at the causes of discomfort, not to judge, but to understand. In our practice, we learn that the second noble truth points to the origins of discomfort. It tells us that discomfort does not arise randomly or without conditions, that it has causes. It is shaped by craving, aversion, clinging, and the habits of mind that grow around them. And tonight, let's explore one of our common habits, the act of assigning blame. Blame is the mind's attempt to answer the question, why does this hurt? Sometimes blame points outward, sometimes it points inward, and sometimes it does both at the same time. For now, Simply notice how blame feels in your body without calling up a specific story. Sense the energy of blame itself. Is it tight or heavy? Is it sharp or restless? Does it pull the mind into the past or push it toward imagined futures? Whatever it is, just notice it as it is. Now, gently bring to mind a mild or moderate experience of discomfort. Nothing overwhelming, just something real and accessible. Maybe a recent frustration or disappointment or an emotional ache. And as you hold this experience in your awareness, notice what the mind does. Does it look for someone or something else to blame? An external cause, another person, situation, or circumstances beyond your control? Or does the blame turn inward toward your own choices, habits, or perceived shortcomings? There's no need to correct this tendency. Blame often arises naturally, almost automatically. In many ways, it is an attempt to make sense of pain. Now, consider this. Blame can sometimes be useful. When we clearly identify causes, we gain wisdom. Seeing that certain actions lead to suffering allows us to change course. Recognizing that harmful speech, unwise choices, or addictive patterns create pain that can motivate us towards more skillful action. This kind of seeing is not harsh or punishing, it's simply understanding cause and effect. As you breathe, reflect. Can I acknowledge causes without turning them into attacks? Let your breath support this reflection. Now, observe the other side of blame. Notice how easily it hardens, how quickly it can become fixed, repetitive, or cruel. When blame turns outward, it can trap us in resentment. Our mind replays stories of what others did wrong. Anger and bitterness keep our suffering alive long after the original event has passed. When blame turns inward, it can become shame. The mind repeats messages of unworthiness, failure, or self hatred. Instead of learning, we punish ourselves. Gently notice if either of these patterns feels familiar to you. And if so, offer yourself kindness for noticing. Awareness itself is already a step towards freedom from these thoughts. Consider the second noble truth itself. In this practice, we learned the Buddha didn't say that suffering comes from bad people or broken selves. He pointed to craving, the urge for things to be different than they are, grasping for pleasure, pushing away pain, and clinging to stories. Blame often grows out of this craving. You think, I shouldn't feel this, or they shouldn't have done that, or I should be somewhere else or be someone else by now. Notice how these thoughts add layers to the original discomfort. Breathing in, acknowledge the wish for relief, and breathing out, soften around that struggle. Now, imagine blame as a stone held in the palm of your hand. As you hold it, examine it, don't reject it, don't indulge in it, simply hold it with curiosity. Ask gently, without needing an answer right away, what is this blame trying to protect? What pain is underneath this? Stay with the felt sense of these questions as you allow your breath to move naturally. Often, beneath blame, there is fear, fear of loss, fear of being hurt again, of being unlovable or being unsafe. Sometimes seeing this fear softens the heart around that blame. Now, shift the tone of this practice from blame toward balance. Begin to explore responsibility without blame. Responsibility says, this discomfort has causes, and I can respond wisely. Blame says, this is wrong and someone must be punished. Notice the difference in your body when you hear these two messages. Responsibility feels steadier and more open, and blame feels tight, heavy. As you breathe, allow your nervous system to settle. Let wisdom replace blame. Let understanding replace accusation. And gently, silently repeat in the rhythm with your breath. In this discomfort, there are causes, but I can learn from causes without anger, and I can respond with wisdom and compassion. Let these phrases land naturally and softly, not as affirmations to force yourself to believe a certain way, but as intentions to explore. And as we come to the close of our meditation, feel your body sitting here breathing. Feel whatever supports you beneath you, your chair, your cushion, your floor. Notice the presence of others in this Sangha, or people near or far who aren't with this Sangha, but who also struggle with discomfort and search for the causes. Recognize that this inquiry is not just personal, it's part of the shared human path all of us are taking towards awakening. Namaste. All right. Thanks for joining us here tonight, everybody. Always good to see you. I'll send us out on the dedication of merit. May any understanding gained here help us see the causes of suffering with clarity and kindness. May we learn to take responsibility without cruelty, to release the blame that hardens the heart, and to cultivate wisdom that leads to freedom. May this merit support the easing of suffering for ourselves and for all beings everywhere. Namaste.